They called it a cleanse, but it looked a lot like control-measured hunger, bottled hope, and a lie dressed in kale. It didn't start as a scam. It started with a kitchen blender, a raw food obsession, and a hunger both literal and metaphorical for something purer. Zoe Sakoutis wasn't a nutritionist. She wasn't a doctor. But in the early 2000s, she called herself a certified nutritional consultant, a title earned from a short certification program that capitalized on the public's growing obsession with natural health. Before founding Blueprint, she worked as a juice bar manager at New York's health mecca Organic Avenue, where she soaked up the culture of wheatgrass shots, cold-pressed elixirs, and raw vegan evangelism. Her future business partner, Erica Huss, came from a different world, corporate PR. A former publicist for brands like Sir Kensington's and Equinox, Erica knew how to make a product not just desirable, but aspirational. Together, Zoe and Erica became a force, one preaching the gospel of clean eating, the other whispering it into the ears of Manhattan's media elite. The story they told was intoxicating, that the modern body was overloaded with toxins, chemicals, preservatives, caffeine, dairy, gluten, stress, and that only by drinking raw, cold-pressed juice could the body purge itself back to balance. There was no hard science behind it, no peer-reviewed studies. But in the era of Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop, science didn't sell, purity did. They named their product Blueprint Cleanses if it were not just a beverage, but a system. The cleanse was built around a rigid structure. 6 juices per day, no food, no caffeine, no alcohol, no chewing, and all for the low price of $65 a day. At first, they hand-labeled the bottles themselves, packing them into coolers in their apartments and making deliveries in borrowed cars. But word spread quickly, thanks to Huss's PR skills and Sakoutis' cult-like pitch. Soon, Whole Foods picked them up. Media outlets like Vogue, The New York Times, and Well Plus Good ran glowing features about the beauty and brains behind the green bottle. Celebrities from Olivia Wilde to Salma Hayek praised Blueprint for helping them reset between red carpets. On social media, early adopters showcased their cleanse like a badge of discipline. A rainbow of juices lined up neatly in their refrigerators, captioned with hashtags like #Detox, #CleanseQueen, and #Willpower. By 2011, Blueprint Cleanse was generating over $20 million a year in revenue. With margins estimated as high as 75%, it became one of the most profitable wellness products per ounce, selling glorified green juice at luxury pricing to a population starving for health. But behind the polished glass bottles was something far darker. Customers weren't just buying juice. They were buying control, a curated starvation program dressed up in kale and lemon. And the entire business model hinged on one powerful narrative, that your body is dirty, not metaphorically, literally. That unless you cleanse it, flush it, starve it, scour it with green juice, you are a ticking time bomb of sludge, toxins, and invisible invaders. Never mind that the human body already detoxifies itself through the liver, kidneys, and colon. That didn't fit the marketing brief. What did fit was fear. Fear of bloating, fear of processed food, fear of being fat, imperfect, or undisciplined in a world that worshipped wellness like a religion. Scroll 2. Instagram delusions. They didn't need TV ads. They had something better. Mirrors, filters, and shame. By the early 2010s, social media wasn't just a place to connect, it was a marketplace for identity. Instagram, barely a year old, had become a glowing altar of self-curation. And nothing photographed better than 6 glass bottles lined up like soldiers of virtue. Blueprint Cleanse mastered this aesthetic before most brands even had an Instagram strategy. Their bottles were clear, minimalist, modern. The labels were printed in Helvetica clean, confident, and expensive looking. Each juice had a number, a name, and a purpose. Green 1, CAR, carrot apple beet, and spicy lemonade. Fashion bloggers posed in Lululemon leggings next to their juice lineups. Yoga influencers posted day 1 of my cleanse updates like diary entries. Cleanse culture went viral not through science, but through social proof. Every post whispered the same thing: if you're not cleansing, you're not clean. And that, of course, was the real business model. Blueprint didn't just sell juice. They sold transformation. Clean meant good. Bloated meant bad. A missed day of the cleanse meant guilt and another $65 cycle to absolve it. The most extreme version was nearly all greens and lemon water with a single cashew milk at the end of the day to prevent fainting. They positioned this starvation as progress, a sign that your body was finally ridding itself of years of damage. If you felt dizzy or irritable, That was just the toxins leaving your body. Meanwhile, influencers played their part. Gwyneth Paltrow called it a reboot. Olivia Wilde said it made her skin glow. Bethany Frankel posted her juice journey. None of them were paid initially, but the credibility they lent was priceless. The irony? Behind the scenes, some of these same influencers were known to cheat the cleanse with secret snacks. Some nutritionists warned of dangerous calorie deficits. Others questioned the logic entirely. Your liver and kidneys already detox your body, they said. But those voices were drowned out by hashtags. Hashtag Blueprint Cleanse, hashtag Detox Glow, hashtag Cleanse and Conquer. A dream built on a lie of biology and the illusion of control. And as social media platforms turned into consumption engines, Blueprint's aesthetic became the template. Every new juice brand from Pressed Juicery to Suja followed their lead. Scroll 3. Profiting from emptiness. By the time Blueprint Cleanse was raking in millions, something disturbing was happening beneath the surface of Instagram glow and celebrity praise. Customers were fainting. Some mid-yoga class. At least one woman reportedly collapsed after 3 days of consuming nothing but green juice, cayenne lemonade, and cashew milk. Doctors began to speak up. 600 to 1,000 calories a day. That's all these cleansers offered. For many, that's starvation level. And worse, it was disguised as health. But Blueprint's empire thrived on the confusion. They weren't selling a treatment for a medical condition, they were selling a feeling of control, a feeling of doing something virtuous. Even as some nutritionists labeled the cleanse glorified disordered eating, the brand was protected by a shield. Wellness isn't medicine. That meant no FDA approval was needed, no clinical trials, no proof, just a convincing label and a customer's willingness to believe. And believe they did. Despite zero medical backing, Blueprint had structured its brand to sound scientific. Words like toxins, alkalinity, internal cleansing, and cellular regeneration floated through their copy like sacred scripture. They didn't mean anything, at least not in the way consumers assumed. Behind the curtain, nutritionists raised alarms. Cleansers like Blueprints weren't detoxing anything. In fact, they often caused muscle loss due to low protein intake, electrolyte imbalances, blood sugar crashes from high fructose juices, constipation from the absence of fiber, and in some cases, hormonal disruptions, especially in women. Still, customers returned for another round. Why? Because when you're hungry long enough, even dizziness can feel like discipline. The emptier the body, the louder the voice in your head whispers, "You're doing it right." Blueprint Cleanse leaned into this loop. Their website encouraged repeat purchases. Cleanse bundles were packaged in 3, 5, and 10-day sets. The implication was clear: one round wasn't enough. You had to purge harder, longer, deeper. And so the cycle continued. A product with no clinical foundation, a price tag most couldn't afford, and a result that often led to nutritional deficiency and a warped sense of what wellness even meant. But as the backlash quietly built, Blueprint's bottom line remained untouched. Because every complaint, every caution was drowned out by the sound of profit. Cold-pressed, vacuum-sealed, branded in Helvetica. Scroll 4. Hunger for sale. In 2012, the cleanse went corporate. Blueprint, still riding high on celebrity praise and daily $65 juice subscriptions, caught the eye of Hain Celestial, a multinational conglomerate known for turning niche health products into mass-market brands. They had already acquired Celestial Seasonings tea and Terra chips. Now they wanted juice. The deal was rumoured to be worth up to $26 million, with Zoe and Erica staying on board temporarily to guide the transition. But behind the press release pleasantries was a simple truth. The cleanse had sold out. At first, the acquisition was positioned as a win not just for Zoe Sakoutis and Erica Huss, but for the entire Blueprint community. In newsletters and interviews, the founders described the sale as a way to bring the cleanse to more people, to democratize wellness, and to scale responsibly. But long-time customers saw the shift for what it was, a pivot from purpose to profit. The brand that once evangelized raw purity, cold-pressed, unpasteurized, glass-bottled, was now rolling out plastic bottles treated with high-pressure processing, HPP, a cost-effective sterilization method that extended shelf life but degraded nutrients. Their original fan base had been sold on exclusivity, that their $65 a day cleanse was rare, delicate, and handcrafted. Now that same product sat in the refrigerated aisle next to kombucha cans and shelf-stable detox teas available to anyone, which made it feel like it meant less. And then came the silence. When loyalists began asking questions, why does it taste different? Why are there added flavors? Is it still raw? Social media comments were ignored, and the founders slowly faded from the brand's messaging altogether. In one interview, Erica Huss tried to reassure customers, it's still the same philosophy. We just have better logistics now. But it wasn't the same. The blueprint that once promised spiritual rebirth through restriction was now a commodity sold in multi-packs, made by machines, and logged under SKU numbers. What they had said was too fragile to ship was now on Amazon Prime. Blueprint Cleanse hadn't just sold their company, they sold the myth. And with the sale, Blueprint's sleek brand of boutique restriction was weaponized into something much larger. Heinz' mission was scale. They didn't care about detox philosophies or raw food origins. They wanted shelf space at Whole Foods, at Target, at anywhere health could be marketed as premium. So they changed the juice. Cold-pressed became pasteurized. Glass bottles became plastic. Small batches became mass-produced. The original Blueprint customers noticed. The juices started tasting sweeter. The colors looked artificial. Some long-time users accused the brand of watering down not just the product, but the philosophy. But Heinz wasn't listening to loyalists. They were chasing numbers. Cleansers popped up everywhere. You could now buy detox shots in gas stations. 3-day cleansers were offered at airports, on Uber Eats, and through Amazon. The aesthetic that Blueprint created, clear bottles, muted palates, pseudo-scientific names, had become the industry standard. Meanwhile, Blueprint's founders vanished from the spotlight. They had proven the model. Sell hunger as virtue. Package it beautifully, price it high enough to feel exclusive. Say nothing when the science pushes back, because by the time people realized it wasn't working, they'd already ordered another cleanse. And for companies like Hain, that was the true product. Doubt, disguised as discipline. Blueprint didn't just open the market, they opened the floodgates. This is Ledger of Lies. Click the card above for more lies.